Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all for this online class on Basics of Electrical Engineering 2023 again. I want to start with module number 3 and module number 5 as we proceed in the upcoming classes with respect to the concepts that are there in the second CIE. So module number 3 and module number 5 will be there for the internals, and I've also completed it prior to this class. So we had a class previously, and you have uh, done with your exams of first semester. And let me start over again. What I'm going to do in this week's class, that is three classes that we have got, we are going to start with the concepts that are quite important for the internals. I've also shared the question paper which was there, and few questions I'll take it from it and I'll solve it, and I will post it as a recorded video if possible. So what are the important questions that are there in module number 3 and module number 5? We are going to discuss in detail right now. And what are the important problems that would come in case of the problem sessions that are there in transformers, single phase transformers, and three phase induction motors. So let me start right now with respect to the concepts here. What I'm going to talk about the EMF equation of a transformer. That is the one important question. Derive the EMF equation of a transformer. Next, we have got condition for maximum efficiency, that is there, which is the iron losses and the copper losses. First, we'll discuss what are those, what are the losses, and next we'll discuss about the condition for maximum efficiency in a transformer. So after that, we will be going ahead with three-phase induction motors, and I'll start about three-phase induction motors in the next class if possible. So we will try to complete single-phase transformers right now, and later we'll be starting with the three-phase induction motors, and we have concept of rotating magnetic field there, and later we will be having the concepts which are related to the problems, that is the slip of an induction motor and so on. And later we have module number 5, that after module 3 we'll be starting with module 5, which is domestic wiring and LT switchgear. So LT switchgear, what we are going to deal with is the fuse and the circuit breaker. We have to know the principle of operation and its construction of fuse and circuit breaker. And next we are going to have the concept, that is the electric shock concept. Next, we are going to talk about the precautions that needs to be taken care in case of an electric shock. And later, we'll be trying to have uh, the concept which is earthing, which is in domestic wiring, and types of wiring, and the single line diagram. So we will be discussing all those important concepts only because I've already completed it, and my focus will be entirely on the topics which are important for the test. So let us start right now. I'll stop sharing. Let us start right now with the concept of EMF equation. Let me start right now. We will be discussing about single phase transformers, single phase transformers, single phase transformers, and we are going to discuss regarding the equation, EMF equation of a transformer. EMF equation of a transformer. Now, what we are going to do with EMF equation of a transformer, so we are going to find out what is the induced EMF that is developed due to the change in flux and the time. So how we are going to carry out this EMF equation is to find out what is the induced EMF. So we are going to find out what is this induced EMF that is there, and we are going to find out what is d phi by dt. So this is a d phi by dt, what we are going to obtain. Now d phi is the change in flux and dt is the time duration taken for the change in flux. That is what we are going to do it here. So in case if I want to find out what is the flux linkage and due to that time, so we have the fundamentals that is there. We start from the well-known equation, that is E is equal to minus n d phi by dt. So what we will be doing here is we will be having only a single turn taken into consideration, and that's where we are going to find out what is the EMF that is induced. So EMF induced in the primary is written as E1, EMF induced in the secondary is written as E2. I got E1 and E2 respectively with respect to EMF equations in primary, EMF equation in secondary winding. Now, next what we are going to do here is I am going to find out how what is the equation that is related to E1. That is the primary equation. We have number of turns as N1 and E2. What is it? And what is the the number of turns in secondary, that is N2. So I have E1 and E2 that is having the number of turns in the primary as N1 and N2. Got it? Now, how are we going to start with this EMF equation expression? I take the fundamentals again as I told you earlier, and I'll be starting with the EMF equation. So how do I start it? So I know that the flux distribution is sinusoidal in nature. So this is the sinusoidal flux distribution for one complete cycle. I take it as one complete cycle, and 0, pi, and 2 pi. And this is the flux linkage that is there. Now, this is the maximum value of the flux which has been generated. So this is phi m. This is pi by 2. Okay, and the time limit is, if I want to find out what is the time, it would be from 0 to t by 4. This is t by 4. Now, if I want to find out the EMF equation, that would be d phi divided by dt. Now, change in the value of the flux and the time taken for it. So how we are going to calculate it? It would be change in the flux, that is phi m minus 0. Okay, the initial value of flux is 0, and the maximum value of flux reached such that the EMF is induced, that would be phi m. Now I have dt. How I can write dt? So I can write it as t by 4 minus 0. I'll be having phi m divided by t by 4. I can also write it as 4 into f. So what is the frequency? That is 1 divided by t. That is phi m. So EMF would be E equals 4 into f into phi m. Got it? So E equals 4 into f into phi m. So now this is the average value of the EMF that is induced. Average value of EMF induced. Average value of EMF induced. Now, if I have got this average value of this EMF induced, so E would be equal to 4 into f into phi m. So that is what I have got here, and that would be the average value. Now, the form factor. So for any sinusoidal wave, I got form factor that is given as RMS value divided by average value. RMS value divided by average value. RMS value by average value. Now I want to find out what is its RMS value. This is the RMS value, and we have got form factor into average value. Form factor into average value. Now, what is the form factor? 1.11. I got the average value as 4 into 5 into, that would be 4.44 f phi m. So this is the average value what I have multiplied here with respect to 1.11. So E1 is the RMS value for one single turn. For one single turn. For one single turn. Got it? So I got for one single turn. For N1 turns. For N1 turns in the primary. N1 turns in the primary. N1 turns in the primary. So E1 is given as 4.44 into f into phi m into N1. Can anyone tell me what would be for secondary? Similarly, for secondary turns, N2, that is N2 is the number of secondary turns. E2, that would be 4.44 into f into phi m into N2. So that is the secondary EMF that is there. Got it? So this is how you can obtain the equations which are there as E1 and E2, which is E1 equals 4.44 into f into phi m into N1. Next, we have got E2 as 4.44 into F into phi m into N2. So this is for the secondary side, and this one is for the primary side of the transformer. Now, if I want to find out what is the turns ratio, if I want to find out what is the turns ratio, or in other words, we call it as transformation ratio. In other words, we call it as transformation ratio. Now, how do I find out this transformation ratio? So we know that E1 by E2, what is it? So that is 4.44 into F into phi m into N1 divided by 4.44 into F into phi m into N2. Now, the common factors get cancelled. I got N1 divided by N2. That would be E1 divided by E2. Or I can write it as E2 divided by E1. That would be equal to N2 divided by N1. So this is the secondary side EMF, and this one is the primary side EMF. N2 and N1 are there. Got it? So if I want to find out what is E2, that is N2 divided by N1 times E1. This is how I am going to find out what is E2. Finish. This one is the transformation ratio. Now, in terms of current, if I want to find out, that would be E2 divided by E1. That would be equal to N2 divided by N1. That would be equal to I1 divided by I2. Or you can also write it as E1 and E2 as V2 divided by V1. That would be equal to N2 divided by N1. That would be equal to I1 divided by I2. I can write it like this. So this is the way in which I can represent the turns ratio or the transformation ratio in detail. Got it? So this carries some 5 marks or 6 marks, and it would be better that you have a better understanding of it and you can go through the concepts which are there. Any doubts if it is there, let me know right now. We have discussed the EMF equation and the transformation ratio. Any doubts if it is there, let me know, or else we can move on to the next one, that is losses and efficiency in the transformer. And after that, we'll be discussing regarding some numerical problems. Any doubts up to this point? Anyone? Any doubts up to this point? Abhirup? Bhavani? Any doubts? Giridhar?
No, sir.
Okay then. So I have already done this concepts and the recordings are available. You can go through it. Just I'm doing a bit because these were the concepts which are important in the main exam. So let me go ahead and start with losses and efficiency. Losses and efficiency in a transformer. Losses and efficiency in a transformer. Losses and efficiency in a transformer. Now, if I have some input and that would be equal to output, this is a case of a ideal transformer. I mean, generally, if I want to talk about it, the rating of the transformer, the rating of the transformer is in kVA. The rating of the transformer is in kVA. So this is the ideal transformer equation that is there. So I have input and output. I got it as V1 I1. That is the voltage in the primary side and the current in the primary side. That would be equal to V2 into I2. So I have the currents I1 and I2. What I have mentioned here is the full load currents. Is the full load currents. Got it? So now V1 I1 will be equal to V2 I2. So if it is expressed in kVA, so it should be dividing it by 1000. Got it? Now, if I want to find out any of the currents, I should know either V2 I2. I can find out what is I1. So it would be given as the KVA rating. KVA rating. So if I know the KVA rating, I can easily find out what is the current in the primary or the current in the secondary. So it would be quite easy for me once the KVA rating of the transformer is known. I'll be calculating what is the full load current if the voltages are given. So we'll be taking an example and we'll be solving it as we proceed with the concept here. Now, in terms of the losses and efficiency, what I was talking, so we will be using a non-ideal transformer or a practical transformer taken into consideration. So for a non-ideal or a practical transformer, along with the output, so whatever the input that I give here, so output plus what would be that? It would be the total losses that is occurring in the system or the occurring in the static electrical machine. That is the total losses which is there in a transformer. Now this output is rated in kilovolt ampere, then the input generally it's a whole transformer which I take. So this losses determines the efficiency. Now higher the losses, lower will be the value of the efficiency and vice versa. Now if I want to further classify this total losses, I can divide this total losses into two subdivisions. Yeah, can anyone know what it is? Constant losses. Okay, and next one is called as the variable losses. Constant losses and variable losses. Now what I wanted to do here is the total losses which are there in the system is divided into constant and variable losses. So this constant loss is called as the iron loss. This constant loss is called as the iron loss. Now again, this iron loss is further divided into two categories again. That is with respect to the hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. Hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. Now again, this variable losses is further divided into two types. I mean, not two types, it is a one single one because you have two sides in a transformer. The variable losses occur due to the variation in the value of the current. Now this variation in the value of the current can be either in the primary or the secondary. This is called as the variable losses, that is occurring due to the copper losses, or what I say here is this is due to the value of the current that is flowing in the secondary side of the transformer. So we call it as copper losses. Got it? So copper losses, or we call it as variable losses, or we can call it as the I squared R losses. We'll be generally using this I squared R or copper losses. Depending on the loading condition of the transformer, these losses will be called as the variable one. So that is the reason why we call it as the constant losses plus variable losses which are there, and together that accounts to the total losses which are occurring in the system. So this is the input, output plus total losses. That would be the non-ideal transformer equation or a practical transformer taken into consideration. So moving on to the next one, we have the condition. What are the condition for, what is the condition for maximum efficiency maximum efficiency in a transformer? Maximum efficiency in a transformer. So what is the condition for maximum efficiency in a transformer? So that is what we'll be looking at right now. So we have the condition for maximum efficiency in a transformer, and this one, which is the condition for maximum efficiency, I take it into consideration by taking the efficiency equation. That is, efficiency is defined as output in kilovolt ampere divided by input in kilovolt ampere. Got it? So this is the efficiency equation. If I want to find it in percentage, that would be multiplying it by 100. So along with the voltage current, considering it to be an AC equipment, I have called it as the equation, which is V2 I2, and along with it, we'll be having one more term called as cos phi. Got Got it? So V2 I2 into cos phi. Now I take into consideration the input. So how I can write input now? How I can write input? V1 I1 cos phi. Now depending on the value of the current and voltage, we have power factor as phi 2 and phi 1. Got it? Now in case if I want to write input, that would be equal to output plus total losses that are there. Let me write it here, which is total losses that are there. Now if I want to find out what is the output, I can write it in terms of input as input minus total losses. That would be output. So this is the input here. And if I want to write what is the output, so if I want to write what is the output, that is input minus total losses. So this is the input. I can write it as the other way also. This one output, what I'm going to write here. So that would be V1 I1 cos phi 1 minus total losses divided by V1 I1 cos 1 minus total losses divided by V1 I1 cos phi 1. Got it? So this is the percentage of efficiency. This whole thing has to be multiplied by 100. Now 1 minus total losses divided by V1 I1 cos phi 1. So now this total losses, whatever that represents, it represents both the iron losses and the copper losses. So let me write down here, our total losses will be given by iron losses plus copper losses at full load condition. Got it? So this would be iron losses plus copper losses at the full load condition. Now, so this copper loss, what I wanted to highlight, I can write this as the I squared losses. So Wi plus, I can write this as I1 squared RO1. So this is the resistance as viewed from the primary. Resistance as viewed from the primary. So Wi plus I1 squared RO1, that is the total losses. That is the total losses. I can write it like this. So total losses, that would be equal to Wi plus I1 squared RO1. So I can replace it here with respect to percentage eta, that is written as 1 minus total losses Wi plus I1 squared RO1 divided by, that is the terms which are there, that is V1 I1 cos phi 1. V1 I1 cos phi 1 into 100. Now what I need to do, I need to differentiate with respect to the current. Why current? That is the current which is said to be variable. This will differentiate with respect to the current I1. Current I1. D by di1 of eta, that is given as, what is the equation that is there? So 1 minus Wi divided by V1 I1 cos phi 1 minus I1 squared RO1 divided by V1 I1 cos phi 1. So I get cancelled this and I can write yes, I can write this terms here. So d by di1 of eta, that would be equal to 1 minus Wi divided by V1 I1 cos phi 1 minus I1 RO1 divided by V1 cos phi 1. Now, what do I need to do if I want to differentiate? So I need to take into consideration of these terms which are there. So I1 term which is there, and I'll be differentiating with respect to I1 again. So what I'll be getting here, if I want to differentiate, I'll be writing the end result right now. So that would be minus W divided by V1 cos phi 1 minus 1 divided by I1 squared minus RO1 divided by V1 cos phi 1, that would be equal to 0. So can anyone let me know what would be the end result? Yes, can anyone let me know what would be the end result? So RO1 divided by V1 cos phi 1, that would be equal to WI. This one is WI. WI divided by uh, V1 cos phi 1 I1 squared. So common terms get cancelled, and I can write WI, that would be equal to I1 squared RO1. So what is WI? This is the iron losses. That would be equal to, yeah, so if I write it here, that would be copper, COPPER, copper losses. Iron losses, that would be equal to copper losses at full load condition. So this one is a full load current. That's the reason why I specify it as full load. Now this copper losses, so this is the variable one. So once this copper losses, which will be equal to iron losses, then I can say it to be the condition for maximum efficiency. Condition for maximum efficiency. Condition for maximum efficiency. Got it? So if you have the copper losses, which would be at full load, and that would be equal to iron losses, then you can say that you will be having the full load copper losses, at which it would be equal to the iron losses. Fine. Any doubts which are there, you can let me know. Any doubts that comes to your mind right now with respect to this derivation? Any doubts? Any doubts which are there, you can let me know. Any doubts? If so, we can have this full load copper losses, the copper losses which are there, and that would be equal to the iron losses. So it is not the vice versa, because copper losses is said to be the variable losses. Once this variable losses, once it is equal to this iron losses, you will be having this equation that is valid for the single phase transformer. So copper losses is said to be the variable losses, and that would be equal to the constant losses. We will be calling constant losses as iron losses. So this is one of the important derivations that we have, that is derived. How would the question be? That would be derive the condition for maximum efficiency in case of a single phase transformer. Next, we'll be having the equations. At what condition, so at what efficiency will be having the constant losses, which will be equal to variable losses, derived with suitable equations. So we can expect such derivations for suitable of 6 marks or 7 marks. We can have this. Any doubts up to this point? Anyone? Any doubts up to this point? Any doubts which are there, you can let me know. Okay, so moving on to the numerical problem. Yeah, so let's move on to the numerical problems. Fine. So if there are no more doubts, I'll move on to the numerical problems, such that we'll be starting with a simple numerical problem. Let me explain you well. A 10 kVA, a 10 kVA single phase transformer, a 10 kVA single phase transformer, a 10 kVA single phase transformer has 400 primary turns 400 primary turns. The net cross-sectional area, the net cross-sectional area, net cross-sectional area is 60 centimeters squared. When the primary winding, when the primary winding, when the primary winding is connected to 500 volt 50 hertz AC supply. 500 volt 50 hertz AC supply. Calculate the maximum value of flux density that is Bm, flux density that is there, that is Bm, flux density that is there as Bm. Yeah. So can we proceed with this numerical problem? How we are going to find out? And next we have to find out this full load. 1 minute. Yeah, full load, primary and secondary currents. Primary and secondary currents. Okay. Yes. So this is the problem what we are going to discuss right now. And in the next class, we'll be discussing regarding the condition for maximum efficiency problem. Okay, what is the rating of the transformer? What is the rating of the transformer? That is 10 kVA. And it has primary turns, that is 400 primary turns. The net cross-sectional area, what is the net cross-sectional area? That is 60 centimeters squared. So when the primary winding is connected to 500 volt, that is E1, that is 500 volt, and the frequency is 50 hertz. So what is the value of the flux density? So what is Bm? Got it? So how are we going to approach this problem? So I have E1 that would be equal to 4.44 into F into 5M into N1. So I got what is E1, that is 500 volt, that is 4.44 into 50 into 5M into N1 is 400. So 5M that would be given as 500 divided by 4.44 into 50 into 400. So what is 5M? Yeah, take out your calculators and start doing it. What is 5M? Phi m value is said to be 5.63 milliweber. Maximum value of flux. This is the maximum value of flux. Maximum value of flux. So next what I'm going to do here, how do I find out maximum value of flux density? Maximum value of flux density. So Bm that would be equal to 5m dividing it by A. So what is 5m? 5.63 into 10 power minus 3 dividing it by 60 into 10 power minus 4. So that is 5.63 divided by 60 into 10 power 1. So yeah, so 5.63 divided by 60 into 10 power 1. So that is 0.938 Weber per meter squared. Bm that would be equal to 0.938 Weber per meter square. Now, next, how will I find out the full load primary current? Full load primary current. So KVA rating is given by V1 I1 dividing it by 1000. Now, what is the KVA rating here? That is 10 KVA. So I'll be writing it directly here because I'm dividing it by 1000. So what is the input voltage? That is 500 into I1 dividing it by 1000. So what is I1? 10 into 1000 dividing it by 500. So what is I1? I1 is said to be um, 10 into 10 divided by 5, that would be 20 amperes. So that is I1, which is given as 20 amperes. Now next, the same way I have V2 I2 divided it by 1000. That would be the KVA rating again. Okay, that would be the KVA rating. So I want to find out what is V2. So how do I find out what is V2? How do I find what is V2? Can anyone tell me how do I find V2? So we know that transformation ratio it is given by V1 by V2, that would be equal to I1 divided by I2. So I want to find out, or we can, yeah, sorry, 1 minute. It is N1 by N2. I am talking with respect to the number of turns here. Yes, so I got, yeah, so given N2, that is 800 turns, and what do I calculate? So I want to calculate what is V2. So that is V1 N2 divided by N1. So that is 500 into 800 divided by what is N1? 400. So V2, that would be equal to 1000 volts. V2 would be equal to 1000 volts. Now substitute it here in 1000 volts, 1000 into I2 dividing it by 1000, that would be equal to 10 kVA. So now I2, that would be equal to 10 amperes. I2 would be equal to 10 amperes. So both, this is the primary and this one is the secondary full load current. Secondary full load current. Got it? So up to this point we'll be covering here, and in the next class we'll be starting with the condition for maximum efficiency, and we'll discuss regarding three-phase induction motors. So you can type your name in the chat box and you can leave the meeting.